Hello YouTube, Obscuber here. In this video I'll be teaching you how to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. But before we get started, I should tell you a few things. You may have heard that solving one is extremely difficult, and you might have found difficulty trying to solve one in the past. But I'm here to show you that it's much easier than what you probably think. For reference, learning to solve a Rubik's Cube is like learning the lyrics of a new song, except that solving a 3x3 may take a little bit of patience. Additionally, once you correctly learn how to solve one on your own, you'll be able to do it for a relatively consistent time. At first, you'll probably be able to do it around 3 minutes, and with a bit of practice, you could get it in under a minute. Now, a few things you need to know. First off, what you'll learn are algorithms, or if you don't know what that means, I'll just call them turn sequences. Those will look like this. And you're only going to need to know 6. Now, you don't need to necessarily memorize each turn sequence, but your fingers will remember the turns through muscle memory, kind of like tying your shoe. Anyways, these turn sequences will have F's, R's, L's, U's, D's, and apostrophes. The letter F stands for front, the front face, R for right, L for left, U for up, and D for down. Apostrophe just means prime or inverse. To perform a turn sequence, have one side of the cube face you the whole time and basically do whatever turns are required. When you are doing these turn sequences, a regular turn, an F, R, L, U, or D, is clockwise in the perspective of the face you turned. An inverse turn, an F prime, R prime, L prime, U prime, or D prime, is counterclockwise in the perspective of the face you turn. This is what each turn will look like. F, F prime, R, R prime, L, L prime, U, U prime, D, and D prime. Alright, now that we've got the basics down, let's actually get into solving. Finally! So what you want to do first is pick a side or a color to start. You'll know what color each side is by the color of the centerpiece. For example, this is the blue side, yellow side, red side, green side, orange side, and white side. Just to understand the geometrics of the cube a little better, you should note that no matter how you mess up a cube, the centers will always stay in the same place. So this side will always be the white, this red, and so on. Okay, to start, any side will work just fine, but go with what I do so you can follow along and make it easier. What you're going to need to do is place each of the white edges, this is one, this is one, this is one, and this is one, on the yellow side, right here, so that the white edges are facing up. The goal is this, and as you can see, there's a yellow center, so this is the yellow side, white edge, white edge, white edge, white edge. To do this, take your unsolved cube and find a white edge. Depending on how you mixed up your cube, the piece can be in a variety of places. If the edge is on one of the 4 slots on the white side, simply rotate the side that shares it. So for example, it's on the white side, I rotate this side, so now it's no longer on the white side. Now that it's not on the white side, you can move it up to this yellow side. To move it up to the yellow side correctly, rotate the side that the non-white sticker is on to bring up the edge correctly to the yellow side. Now, as you can see, the white sticker is next to the yellow centerpiece. If there happens to be a white edge piece already in the correct slot on the yellow side and it's keeping you from moving another white edge piece onto that side, simply turn the yellow layer so that you can get them all in the right spot. And as you can see, I have both white edges on the yellow side. If you happen to have a white edge piece on the yellow layer, but it's flipped wrong so that the white sticker is not on the top, what you need to do is rotate it out of the way. Doesn't matter which way. You can go this way or that way. What you want to do is now move this one out of the way and then bring up the white sticker. And here I'll do it from the other side. Now we're back to where we were, but what you want to do is move it this way. And since there's no white sticker here, you can move it up and we still have all three on this side. Apply what you've learned to the rest of the stickers and you should get something like this, where all four white edges are on the yellow side. So what I see here is that the remaining white edge piece is right here, and I can move it up to this spot, but this edge is in the way. So I'll just need to move it out of the way and then move up this white edge piece into that spot. Now as you can see, we have all four in the right spot. So, once you have all the white edges correctly placed on the yellow side, you're going to need to move them down into the correct spots on the white side to look like this, where every non-white color of the edges are matched with their respective centerpieces. So as you can see, orange, orange, green, green, red, red, blue, blue. To do this, pick a white edge and turn the yellow face that it's on until the other color of the edge piece is matched up with the other color centerpiece, like this. As you can see, I matched up red with red. Once it looks like this, or any other color, turn this other color side twice, or just 180 degrees, and you'll have moved it down onto the white side. Repeat this process until you have the white cross with each white edge piece next to its own secondary color to look like this again. So I see blue here, I'll move it to the blue centerpiece, move it 180 degrees. I see green here, move it to the green centerpiece, 180 degrees. See orange, move it to the orange centerpiece, 180 degrees, and you'll have the white cross. Next, you're going to be finishing up the first layer, which will look like this, where we'll be focusing on the white corner pieces. Starting off, find a corner piece with a white sticker on it. So here, I see a corner piece with a white sticker on it. If the piece is on the white side, like it is here, but not in the right slot, which you can tell it isn't because it doesn't look like that, or that, or that, or that, you're going to need to perform your first turn sequence. With the white corner in the wrong slot, you're going to need to hold the cube so that the white side is the up side, and the white corner piece that you're focusing on is in the upper right hand slot on the front side. Now perform the turn sequence. Right inverse, down, right, down inverse. And what this will do is move the white corner out of the incorrect slot on the white layer and onto the yellow layer. And here that corner is. Here is the original spot. And now you can move it where you want to without messing up this white layer. Now what you need to do next is look at the other two colors of that white corner. For this one it's blue and orange. And move it to the corner slot that the other two colors share. So it's blue and orange, blue and orange. We have it right here underneath where it's supposed to be. Once you have the corner in the slot beneath where it's going to go, move the corner out of the way, move the slot down, move the corner back in, so now it's in this slot, and move it up so that you have it in the correct spot. If you move the white corner into its correct spot and you note that it's not twisted correctly, what you're going to need to do is perform the first algorithm that you learned, except twice this time. Right inverse, down, right, down inverse. Again, right inverse, down, right, down inverse. And you should note that it twisted one time clockwise. Sometimes you'll have it twisted correctly, sometimes you'll have it like this. So all you need to do is do that algorithm 2 more times. Right inverse, down, right, down, inverse, right inverse, down, right, down inverse. And as you can see, we have it in the right spot. Repeat the last few steps until you get all the white corners into their correct spots to look like this. Once you've completed the first layer, what you're going to need to do is complete the second layer. In this step, we're going to be focusing on the middle layer edges, or the non-yellow edges, and putting them in their correct spots. There are 4 cases, including the correct one, on the position of the edge piece. The first case is in the middle layer, but spun incorrectly, like this one, or in the wrong spot, like this one. What you need to do is hold the cube so that the edge piece you're focusing on is on the right in the middle layer, and then perform this turn sequence. U, R, U inverse, R inverse, U inverse, F inverse, U, F. And as you can see, we moved it out of the wrong spot. Now we have it here, so we can move it into its correct spot. Now that it's on the yellow layer, it will be in one of 2 cases. Relocate the edge piece and take note of the sticker that isn't on the up layer. In this case, it's green. Line that color up with the same color centerpiece by moving the up layer. Green, green. Now take note of the edge's other color. If the edge has to go to the right to connect both its centers, then that is the second of 3 cases. What you will do here is hold the cube so that the edge is on the front side, and then perform the same turn sequence as earlier. U, R, U inverse, R inverse, U inverse, F inverse, U, F. And what this did was move it from this spot to this spot, spun correctly. Now for the last case. Once you've lined up the bottom color with its correct piece, and it goes to the left, as you can see, red, red, to be in the correct spot, what you're going to need to do is hold the cube so that this edge piece is on the right side and not the middle side, and then perform this algorithm. Up inverse, front inverse, up, front, up, right, up inverse, right inverse. And what this did was move it from over here down here, twisted correctly. Now repeat these steps for every non-yellow edge piece until you have the first two layers finished. Once you have the first two layers completed, what you're going to want to do is complete the top layer cross, which will look like this. As you can see, all the yellow stickers are facing up on the top layer. For this, there are 4 cases, including the finished yellow cross. The first case is with only the yellow center showing on top, with all the edges yellow stickers facing outwards. What you need to do for this case is start with any side facing you as long as the yellow layer stays as up, and then perform the turn sequence. Front, right, up, right inverse, up inverse, front inverse. Now you'll see the second case, showing 2 edges that are closest to each other. Hold the cube so that the showing edges make a capital letter J in the upper left-hand corner of the up layer. Now, perform the same turn sequence again. Front, right, up, right inverse, up inverse, front inverse. Now you'll be at the third case, where 2 edges and the centerpiece make a straight line on the top layer. So what you'll need to do to get the completed top layer cross is hold the cube so that the 3 stickers on the top layer make a horizontal line, and then perform that same turn sequence again. Front, right, up, right inverse, up inverse, front inverse. Now, you should have the completed top layer cross. If there are 1 or 3 top layer colors facing up, that means at some point your cube fell apart, and you'll just need to pop it out, twist it, and pop it back in, and then complete the steps I showed you earlier. Now that you've completed the top layer cross, it's time to put the edges in their correct slots so that they match up with their corresponding centers, like this: orange, blue, red, and green. For this, there will be 3 cases, including the correct orientation. What you need to do is turn the top layer until there are 2 edge pieces, or 4, that match up with their correct center pieces. Like this. See, I have orange and red. The first case is if the 2 correct edges are adjacent or across from each other. What you will do for this case is hold the cube so either one of the correct edge pieces on the front side, then perform this turn sequence. R, U, R inverse, U, R, U, another U, R inverse. And now you'll be at the second case. With the second case, 2 of the correct edge pieces will be next to each other and not adjacent. What you should do is move the cube so one of the correct edge pieces is on the back side and the other is on the right side. So like this. Back side, right side. and then perform the same turn sequence. R, U, R inverse, U, R, U, another U, R inverse. At this point, just make one more U, and you should have all four in their correct spots. Now that you have all the edges in their correct spots, you're going to need to put all the remaining corners in the correct spots. So as you can see, red and green, orange and green, orange, green, blue, orange, red, blue, red, blue. Without rotating the top layer, check to see if any of the corners are in their correct spots. Now I can tell you this one is in the correct spot because there's green and orange, green and orange. However, if there are no corners in the right spots, this will be the first of three cases, one being the correct orientation. With any side facing you and yellow as a top layer, perform this turn sequence. U, R, U inverse, L inverse, U, R inverse, U inverse, L. Now you should be able to find a corner in the correct spot. Now we have one here. As you can see, green, red, green, red. Once you find your corner, move the cube so that the corner is in the upper right hand corner of the front side and perform that same turn sequence. U, R, U inverse, L inverse, U, R inverse, U inverse, L. If there is still only one corner in the correct slot, which it should be the same one, just perform the same algorithm again. U, R, U inverse, L inverse, U, R inverse, U inverse, L. Now you should have all the corners in the correct spots. If you happen to have 2 or 3 in the right spot, but not 1 or 4, that means your cube fell apart and you should probably pull it apart and put it back together in the right order. Once you got all the corners in the correct slots, you're going to want to correctly permutate or spin all the corners so that you'll end up solving the cube. For the permutation of these corners, there are a few cases that you shouldn't need to worry about if the cube hasn't fallen apart or been taken apart. If no corners are correctly permutated, make sure 2 are spun clockwise once and 2 are spun counterclockwise once. So this is clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise. So this is a solvable cube. It hasn't been taken apart or fallen apart. If 2 are correctly permutated, make sure the other 2 are not spun in the same direction. If your corners are not permutated like these 3 options, then take out the pieces and put the cube together solved, or like one of the options I just mentioned. Now, with one of those 3 unsolved cases, take one of the unsolved corners and put it in the upper right hand corner of the front face. Now perform the following turn sequence. Right inverse, down, right, down inverse. Another time. Right inverse, down, right, down inverse. Don't worry if this is messed up because it will be solved in the end. Now, this rotated once clockwise, so we're going to need to do those 2 algorithms once more. Right inverse, down, right, down inverse, right inverse, down, right, down inverse. Make sure you finish this algorithm and complete this last turn, otherwise you won't end up solving the cube. Now, without messing up these two layers, rotate the top layer, either this way or this way, doesn't matter, to another corner, and complete those algorithms again. Right inverse, down, right, down inverse, right inverse, down, right, down inverse. And now you should be at the last case, where you'll have two that you need to spin. It doesn't matter if they're next to each other or across from each other, it'll all work out the same. So now just complete the same algorithm. Right inverse, down, right, down inverse, right inverse, down, right, down inverse, right inverse, down, right, down inverse, right inverse, down, right, down inverse. Move it over, right inverse, down, right, down, inverse, right inverse, down, right, down inverse. You should note that it doesn't matter which corners you do first, just so long as you keep rotating this and completing the algorithms. If you did all the previous steps correctly, you should have solved the cube. Congrats if you did. Now's the time to redo all these steps and practice so that you can do it on your own. Thanks for watching. I hope this tutorial helped. If this taught you how to solve a Rubik's Cube, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later.